Hey there, welcome to Mary Grace Media. Whether you're here for the first time or the 100th time, I'm really glad you found me and I hope you enjoy the content. I'm just going to encourage you to jump right in, and if you do like it, make sure you subscribe, follow, share, leave comments, and go check out my website, marygracemedia.com. And I just pray that God blesses you and your family and that you walk in His peace all the days of your life. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Real Talk with Mary Grace. This is our Thursday edition. It is April 9th, 2020. Welcome, everybody. Can everybody hear me? It's good to see you guys. I have a lot to talk about today. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Please retweet this, share it with as many people as you can. I have some very practical information that I'm going to talk to you about. Hey, Marissa. So go ahead and touch the arrow in the bottom of your screen and retweet this, share it on as many places as you can. You can copy the link and put it on Twitter. You can put it on Facebook. You can put it in a text or an email. And this is a follow-up to the message that I put out on Monday. You can find that message on my Periscope account and also on my YouTube account at Mary Grace Media. So please make sure you do that, especially if you have yourself or friends or family members who might be in a position to take advantage of what's going to be happening with the infrastructure that President Trump is going to put into place as soon as possible. So go over to my YouTube and find that, or go to my Periscope, and I think you're going to be really happy with the information you find there. So today I want to jump into some important information because there has been I've gotten a lot of questions from people after the scope that I did the other day. I'm going to give you just a quick overview of that before I go on, because I think it was really important information, and I actually have an outline that Robert Solomon made for me, which is great. And he went through the entire scope and made a really good outline. And I'm going to try to get that information up on my website. I've been busy. I've been busier than you would expect from somebody to be on lockdown. But anyway, so the point of my message the other day was that I was telling everybody to be prepared for what's coming with Trump's infrastructure initiative, because there's a lot that's going to be happening. The bottom line is there will be jobs, and a lot of the jobs that are going to be coming up are in what we call the blue collar industry, just for lack of a better word, but these are jobs that require skill. They're not necessarily jobs that you have to have a college education for. In fact, a lot of them you don't. You just need a high school education. In some cases, people go into the military to get training for these types of jobs. But again, you don't have to. Some of these jobs, you get the training through different trade programs, and some of the trade programs take a couple of years. Some take 8 weeks. It just depends. And so those are some of the things that I talked about, and I gave some resources to where you can go to make some informed decisions about what types of jobs are going to be available to get people into infrastructure jobs. It was very informative. I can't go into all of it, but I have gotten great feedback from it. Hey Dave, hey Willis. So I've gotten really great feedback, and so many people have written to me, messaged me, shared information, and it was very encouraging, very encouraging. And so please go and watch that. Please share it with as many people as you can, because I really see a boom coming. I see a boom that's going to last. Hey there, Hadassah. I see a boom that's going to last well beyond the first year of Trump's next term or the second year. I really see this. And those of you who've been following me for a long time who understand, when God gives me a download, I guess you would say that I'm a forerunner of sorts, because I see things. I see the bigger picture. I see 30,000 feet up, and I can really, I just have a good sense of what's coming, and it's good. It's really good. So I want to encourage everybody. And if you are watching and I can't see you in the chat, just touch the screen and hit the hearts, because I want to know that you're there, and I want to know that you're tracking with me. So along the lines of what I talked about the other day, I wanted to really break a couple of things down, because I've gotten some email, I've gotten some feedback, and I think that there's a frustration that's coming from what people are experiencing, and I think that's just part of the the situation we're in right now. I think that people are, in general, there's a lot of anxiety, there's fear, there's frustration of being locked down, there's frustration of having your governor tell you that you can't leave your house. And so I just think that there's that mixed with the frustration of trying to navigate a system that, in many cases, multiple systems that were not set up to do what we're dealing with right now. Everybody, for the most part, is doing something that they've never done before. And so that is where we find ourselves. The president has talked about this in his daily briefings. He has said we have a system that was broken. We had, the pantry was depleted, and we're trying to deal with an emergency situation at the same time as replenishing the pantry. Now, I'm going to address a question that somebody asked, I think it was Raleigh Realtor, about a boom. I would definitely suggest that you go back and watch my scope or my YouTube from Monday of this week. And so do that, because I can't recap it all here. It's definitely worth watching, but I want you to get that information. So let me just talk about this, because there's a frustration that people are feeling, and I get that. All of my empath friends are telling me that they're feeling the weight and the groaning of really the collective groaning of the earth and of their neighbors and friends who are just ready. Because as the president says, America was not designed to be shut down. Americans are independent. Americans are strong. Americans are progress oriented. Americans are goal-oriented, task-oriented. We want to get things done. We built this country from prairies and wilderness and mountains, and we want to keep doing that. And so President Trump is exactly right. People are restless, but I want you to know that there is hope, and that we are making a transition. We just entered into Passover last night at sundown. And this is a time, this is a time where I am really encouraging people to just invite the presence of God into your home and get into a place of reflection and worship, and just treasuring this time. This is something that President Trump has also encouraged us to do, is to just have the presence of God in your home and to get closer to God, because we're never going to have another opportunity like this in our lives, you guys. We will never have this again in our lifetime, this reset that we're having. And I just want you to be encouraged by that. Are there things about it that we hate? Absolutely. I don't like going to the lake and having the people at the lake tell me that the governor may shut down my little lake where I go on my stand-up paddleboard when there's only 25 people there on a busy day. I don't like that. It just rankles me. It goes against everything that I stand for. Am I going to spend my time focusing on that? I could, but I'm not, because I want to focus on what God is doing, and God is doing big things. God is singing a lullaby over America and saying, rest and be quiet and stop whining, because the truth is what we're going through it's not World War II. It's not the Great Depression. It's not the Holocaust. There have been things that our nations, that our people have survived that have been way harder than this. I know it's bad. I'm not trying to diminish it, but this is when we look back on history, this is going to be a giant speed bump in our lives. That's all. Because we are not going into a Great Depression. And so I wanted to encourage you with those words because this is where we are. And yesterday, I want to jump in with a scripture here, because I think that this is good. I wasn't planning on reading this, but the Lord just brought it to mind. So this is Psalm. Got my Bible app here. Psalm 4. What was it? Psalm 4:8. Okay. And thank you to my moderators who are here today. I appreciate it. Okay. Psalm 4:8. It's not very long. Okay. So the Lord says, thank you, Dave. So the Lord says, in peace, or the psalmist says, in peace I will both lie down and sleep. For you alone, O Lord, make me to dwell in safety. And I actually have been thinking about this because, God is calling us to a place of peace. He's calling us to be at rest. And a big part of what he is challenging each of us to do is to turn inward, not so that we can navel gaze and engage in self-pity, but to find out who we really are. Because we're in a time where where our mettle is being tested, mettle. What is it that you're made of? What is it that you're going to do, and how are you going to respond, and how are you going to come out of this? Because the truth is, guys, we are in a time where if you're going to be going through hardship, most of us have it pretty easy. We're not traveling in a covered wagon across hostile prairies where we don't know if we're going to be alive from one day to the next. We're not trying to raise children out of a covered wagon with cloth diapers. Women in America aren't being asked to go through the hardships that people went through even 100 years ago. So I just want you to have perspective. And I'm not trying to diminish the things that the fact that people are losing their businesses. Please don't hear that. That's not what I'm saying. I know that there are a lot of people who are going through real struggles right now. I get that. The majority of us in America are not in that situation. There is one person in the chat who's saying they are going to lose everything, and I'm sorry about that, and I want to ask my prayer warriors to connect with him, and because I believe that God is bigger than anything that we're going through, and only God. We have stories coming out of this that are only God's stories. I really want to emphasize that. I just got word from a friend of mine today. Speaking of God, this is a friend of mine who has tried for 4 years to get pregnant, and she and her husband had been going through. She and her husband had been going through in vitro fertilization for 4 year, and they've had lots of near misses and all of that, and she just found out that they're 7.5 weeks pregnant with triplets. So I just want that to encourage you. I want to encourage you that the Lord can do anything, that he is the God of the impossible. And so those of you who are facing what looks like 100% sure devastation, God can be the answer in all of this. This is it's an amazing story, amazing. And that's not the only person I know that has conceived and had children when they have been told that all hope is lost. So I'm just here to tell you that God is good. And so now I'm going to jump into the second portion of my show today, which is I'm going to give you some very practical information about the unemployment benefits and about the small business loans. So if you haven't done it already, if you're just getting here, if you're new to my show, I'm just going to tell you, you're on Mary Grace Media, and this is a live broadcast on Periscope. So if you're seeing me responding to chat, it's because there is live chat. If you want to see the live chat on replay, go back and watch the Periscope version. If you're watching this on YouTube, you won't see the chat, but you can leave comments under the video, and you can also message me through info@marygracemedia.com. So I just want to encourage you with that. And please share this. Take the arrow in the bottom of your screen and either copy the link and share it, but also invite followers, retweet, do whatever you need to do, share it on Facebook. So here we go. This is what I want to tell you guys. I have gotten some good information, and so I have this information directly from the Employment Commission in Virginia and also from the SBA. I'm going to start with the unemployment because I think that a lot of people, I've been getting feedback from people who have been saying that they applied for unemployment and they got rejected. And I'm talking specifically about people who are independent contractors, freelancers, sole proprietors, business owners. There is a provision in the coronavirus disaster relief bill that says that that those people qualify for unemployment. And so I'm hearing feedback from people who are saying, I applied, I got rejected. And so I figured out what's going on because I got some information from the Employment Commission in Virginia explaining this. And so if you have something to take notes with, get a pen, get a pad of paper, and get ready to take some notes. I'm giving you information based on the Virginia Employment Commission website. The information may not be communicated exactly the same way in your state. So just be aware of that. Each state manages their own unemployment website. The president wanted to do this portion of the unemployment benefits federally, but he said that the Democrats wanted to do it through the states. The states have different, the states all have different systems. A lot of them are outdated, and so your state may be taking longer. That is not the fault of President Trump. It's not the fault of the Treasury Department or the IRS. It's the nature of the system. And so I just want you to pay attention to this, and don't tune out if you're not in this situation, because you may be able to help a friend or family member or even a colleague through the information that I'm giving you. So stay with me, stay tuned in, take some notes. You may be able to help somebody. So here's what I found out from the Virginia Employment Commission. People who applied for unemployment and people who fall into that category of self-employed who didn't have a W-2 from their employer. So for example, if you didn't get a paycheck where they took the taxes out, but you were getting money through gigs or through independent contracting, through freelance work, and you use a 1099 typically when you file your taxes or you report cash earnings. Okay. So anybody that's writing in all caps in my chat is probably going to get blocked. Please don't do that. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to get to this. Okay. Now, what happened is this: the employment commissions have an automatic system. This is my understanding of it. If I go on and apply for unemployment before the disaster, right, and I don't have a W-2 on file with an employer, if I wasn't employed by Target or Joe's Pizza or anybody that was already taking taxes out of my paycheck or paying unemployment insurance, right? When you have a job and you're employed by somebody, they pay into the system. They pay unemployment insurance, so that if you get fired from that place, you can go and apply for unemployment. That's how it works. Well, if you're an independent contractor, the people who pay you for the work that you do are not paying into the unemployment system. Why does that matter? It matters because the system, the unemployment system, is set up to pay the people who worked those traditional jobs. It's not set up to pay independent contractors who are not in that system. So here's where people are getting rejected. And I want you to pay attention to this, because I think that, I believe that not all is lost. So really pay attention. They're getting rejected because they applied before the current system for the coronavirus relief was in place. So getting a rejection from the Unemployment Commission doesn't mean that you are not getting money through the coronavirus emergency relief. Let me repeat that. Getting rejected as an independent contractor, if you got a rejection letter from the Employment Commission, I believe it would say something to the effect that it's called a monetary determination. If you got a monetary determination, that's what they call it in Virginia, that says that you do not qualify for unemployment benefits, do not despair. That is based on the regular system, on the traditional system for people who get their paycheck through an employer. What is the system that is set up now through coronavirus relief? That is called Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, PUA program. That system is just getting put into place with the employers, or with the Unemployment Commission. So your state, every state is different. I believe somebody in Georgia told me that they got information from Georgia saying that it should be in place by the 10th of April, which is tomorrow. I believe that it depends on the state. My state doesn't have specific dates in place for when the PUA will be active. Here's what they say. I'm reading to you directly off of the Virginia Employment Commission website. So this is important. And I'm giving you this information because I really feel like a lot of people are in distress and they're getting disillusioned and disheartened by these rejections. And I really believe that the rejections are not the final word, because again, the system is set up to reject you if you weren't already in getting paid by a traditional employer. So take heart. Here's what it says. It says, a provision within the CARES Act is the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program. It will provide unemployment insurance benefits to those who are not covered by the regular/traditional Virginia State Unemployment Insurance Program. Does that make sense? Are you guys tracking with me? So hit the hearts, give me a thumbs up if you get where I'm going with this. This is really important because as an independent contractor, as a business owner, as a freelancer, you do not qualify for traditional unemployment insurance. There is no employer out there who is paying into a system so that you benefit when you get laid off. You technically haven't been laid off. So this is where the distinction is, and this is where a lot of people are getting confused, and I think that they are getting discouraged. So don't get discouraged. This is what it says. We are preparing to administer benefits under PUA, Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, and there will be additional steps in the application process that you will need to take before the payments can begin. You have taken the first step by filing for the traditional or regular unemployment insurance program and being denied under the program. Did you get that? If you applied and you got denied, you are not kicked out of the system. hold on to whatever paperwork you got. You might have even gotten a PIN number. So don't delete that. Remember what email you used to sign up with. Of course, they have your social security number on file. So hold on to that. You are not out of the system. They don't have all of the guidance they need yet from the federal government. So you're kind of in limbo. Be patient. Now it says, we will provide further instructions on the PUA program in the near future. Any additional information will also be included here on our website as soon as it is available. Now, 2 days ago, I went on the Virginia Employment Commission website and the whole website was down. I believe that is because they were updating this information. So remember what I said, we are experiencing something that has never been done before. Systems that have been in place for many years are being asked to overhaul everything completely, and they're working on skeleton staffs. So you take a system that normally would take a year or more of a dedicated IT staff and accounting staff to overhaul, and now you're asking them not only to overhaul, not just to redesign the website, but to put entire new systems in place, and they're doing it all with people who are quarantined and working from home. So think about that. That is just something to take into consideration. There are going to be blips in the system. There are going to be hiccups, major hiccups. Does that mean that you're not getting the money that was earmarked under the CARES Act, under the Coronavirus Relief Act? I don't believe that's what it means. I may be mistaken. It may turn out that I am hoping against hope and it didn't come to pass, but I believe that what I'm reading here is accurate, and I believe that people who did file for unemployment or who have yet to file for unemployment under this provision, the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, I believe that you will get the money. I do believe you will. So be persistent, wait, be patient. I know it's really hard to do that. I get that. I get that some of you are, you've already passed that point where you're a paycheck away from, groceries, gas, rent. I totally get that. And I'm not telling you to be an eternal optimist and just to say, hey, everything's fine. It's gonna be. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm telling you that I'm a good researcher and I'm pretty good at communicating this stuff. And what I'm seeing is that the system is working. It's just not working as fast as people expected it to. It was just last week, believe it or not, that Secretary Mnuchin stood up and said, we have these things in place. These people are working around the clock to get a system, to build systems that didn't even exist a week ago. And they're also dealing with Congress, who just today, the Democrats again rejected the additional money that the president wanted to put in place, the $250 billion. So there's a lot of moving parts. It is swampy. Don't get me wrong. I am not discounting that at all. If I could snap my finger and make it work, I would. But the president and his team and his cabinet are working within the confines of a system that's already been there. And in many cases, these systems should have been updated well before now, but they weren't. So it's actually exposing a lot of problems. And that's a good thing, but it really is terrible to have it happening and being exposed right now. Because the last thing you want, if I could use an analogy, the last thing you want is to find out that all your tires are bald when you get into a snowstorm. The federal government, the state governments should have prepared before now. And this is really exposing the holes in a lot of the management of the state governments. I think that if you're voting come November and your state is up for a new governor, you might consider how your governor has done up until now and what your state systems are looking like. If you're in a state that had to scramble and didn't have any stockpiles of medical equipment for such a disaster as this, you should reconsider who your governor is and vote for someone else, because that's a management job, and reconsider who is running your state. And so if your systems are completely out of date and they haven't been taken care of and you can't get access, and it's taking even longer for the unemployment website to be updated, that's not President Trump's fault. That is not the federal government's fault. States are run on a state-by-state basis, and these systems that are broken should have been dealt with and fixed long before now. Unfortunately, those of us who are in this situation of trying to wait and get through and get information, we're the ones who suffer because the people that were voted into these jobs didn't do their job. Now, I'm going to move on to the SBA loan, because this is really good information. I got more details about the loan that I talked about the other day. And again, this is dealing with any business owner, whether you own a whether you own, hold on a second, Instablock. Sometimes the Instablock just feels good. Okay, so whether you own a brick and mortar business, whether you own whatever it is, a food truck, photography, massage therapist, if you do a podcast, anybody that is an independent contractor, a business owner, anything like that. You could be an LLC, you could be a sole proprietor, you could be an Inc., you could be any kind of business. If you have a business, if you pay taxes as a business owner, if you have expenses with a business, whether you have employees or not, if you are a certain size business, then this is for you. And I'm gonna update this information. Now, some people have been saying, a lot of people, including me, have gone through the link that I provided the other day to apply for the emergency EIDL, Emergency Injury Disaster Loan, Economic Injury Disaster Loan, EIDL. People who applied for this. So this is how it works. I'm going to break it down. I gave you some information on it the other day, but I'm going to break it down a little bit more. There are different loan packages that are available to business owners through this disaster relief. One of them is the Paycheck Protection Package, PPP they're calling it. That is Paycheck Protection Program. All of these are tongue twisters, you guys. Say it 3 times fast. The Paycheck Protection Program is for small businesses that need to keep employees on payroll. I have a client who just applied for that and got approved. They will be able to pay their employees as long as they keep them employed and they don't fire them. They will be able to get that money, and the money that they pay for payroll will be forgiven. A lot of us are not in that category. So I'm going to move on to the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Emergency Advance. This is a little bit confusing because there are actually 2 parts to it. The first part is the emergency advance of up to $10,000. I was talking about that the other day. The part that I didn't bring into the discussion is that people who apply for those loans can actually apply for up to $2 million. The advance part is the up to $10,000 that is put into your account and that it's completely forgivable. Anything from the initial advance up to the $2 million is loaned at a 2.75% rate through the SBA. It's not through the bank. You're not going to the bank to get this. You're applying online. And this is something that I feel needs to be clarified for a lot of people. And so I hope you're tracking with me. I will leave this replay up. I will put this on YouTube if I can. I do have some technical issues with iMovie, and I would love it if somebody who's really good with Apple would help me figure that out. So if you can do that, write to me at info@marygracemedia.com, because my iMovie is telling me that I don't have enough storage on my phone or iPad to export my movies, I know that I have storage. So there's like a breakdown in the system. Anybody that can help me with that so I can get my videos on YouTube faster, that would be awesome. Okay, so let me get back to this particular type of loan. This is a really good situation. These loans are through the SBA. You're not walking into a bank. From what I understand, you're not going into a bank to try to get these loans. I talked to the SBA. I called them on the phone before I did my broadcast, and I talked to a human being about this. And so this is the information that I got directly from the Small Business Association. So let me break it down for you. I've got to find it though. I've got to find my notes. Okay, so here's what it looks like. All of this information is available on the SBA.gov website, but I'm going to break it down for you. There is also a one-sheet PDF on the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. So if you just Google Chamber of Commerce EIDL requirements, it will give you a one-sheet PDF. So I'm going to break it down for you. Okay, so there's two parts. The first part is the EIDL. That's up to $10,000 that gets into your bank account. They say within 3 business days. When I talked to them on the phone, they said that it's actually more like a week or 2. And the frustration that I'm hearing from people is that they haven't heard anything at all from the SBA after they have done this application. I'm going to get back to that in just a minute. So let's go back to these two parts. So the first part is the advance, the emergency advance. The second part is the remainder of the loan up to $2 million for your business, whether you have payroll or not. And so that's the distinction. That is the distinction. So for example, if somebody has a food truck and you have a lot of capital invested in your food truck and you're the sole proprietor, maybe you have people that come and work for you as independent contractors. You wouldn't qualify for the PPP, the paycheck protection. This is something that you could qualify for. So you guys tracking with me? And so this is or for example, if you have a nonprofit, if you have a church, if you have a charity, you can also qualify for this. Sometimes there's going to be crossover. Some people who qualify for what I'm talking about now will also qualify for the PPP, but you don't have to have employees to qualify for this one that I'm talking about right now. I think that's the distinction. You can be just a sole proprietor, freelancer, doing your own thing. And so when you go online, and this one you apply for all online. And so when you go online to apply for this, you need to have a couple of things ready. You need to have your information from last year. So from January 1st, 2019 to January 31st, 2019, your income information and also your expenses. One of the things that's a little bit confusing on the application is they give you there's a place where you enter cost of goods, COG. That actually is also for expenses. So rents, utilities, capital expenses, for example, if you bought a vehicle for your business, insurance, all of those things that you would list on your taxes as expenses, that's what they're talking about with cost of goods. I didn't realize that because when I think of cost of goods, I think of cost of goods as a retail business, but it actually includes all of those expenses. So listen, here's the good thing, because somebody just said I didn't fill that out right. The good thing is you can do another application. I asked that question. So if you have already filled that out and you didn't put in that information under cost of goods, you can go back and do a new application, and you can do it. It knocks your old application out of the system. So the SBA will go based on the most current application that you have on file. there's a link on my Twitter. I tweeted it out just before the show. If you click on that link, that will take you directly to the application that I'm talking about. This application is good for the entire loan. So if you need to borrow $100,000 for your business, you do it through the same application. The $10,000 portion up to $10,000 is the advance that they will give you that is 100% forgivable. So did I communicate that okay? There's a lot of detail here, but it's the same application, just the initial up to $10,000 is 100% forgivable. Anything beyond that, anything that's not given to you in that emergency advance is considered a loan. So I'm going to go through this sheet here and just break it down for you. So it says, so here's the 10th, so it's a $10,000 grant. It says, how can I access emergency $10,000 grant? Eligible applicants can receive a $10,000 emergency grant within 3 days of application through December 31st. You don't have to do it today. If you have enough capital and you're okay, this is eligible and available through the end of this year. There is no obligation to repay the grant. To receive the $10,000 emergency grant, it is not necessary to have an approved EIDL loan. However, if you are able to secure a PPP loan, the $10,000 grant will be subtracted from the forgiveness amount. So for example, my client got a PPP loan, and so they'll take $10,000 off of that automatically. This is the way I'm reading it. And that part will be forgivable. They're not going to give her a separate grant and a separate deposit. And then let me go back to the loan parameters. The maximum EIDL is a $2 million working capital loan at a rate of 3.75% for businesses, 2.75% for nonprofits, with up to a 30-year term. Payments on the EIDL loans are deferred for 1 year. So again, anything you get above the $10,000 is deferred. The payments are deferred for 1 year. Up to $200,000 can be approved without a personal guarantee. Approval can be based on a credit score, and no first-year tax returns are required. So, for example, if your business is new, what I'm reading from this is that if you have good credit, you can possibly use that to get the loan. So if you have a new business but you happen to have good credit, that's what I'm reading into that. There is a number for the SBA. You can go on the website and call the 800 number, and then when you click the option for the coronavirus relief, they actually connect you to a human being. There's hardly any wait. So I called the number, and it's on my phone, and I can't look at it right now. So I'm sorry, I should have written it down. But so this is what I'm looking at on the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Let me go back to the SBA website and see if I can find that number. But guys, this is encouraging. I hope you're encouraged by this, because it is. Is it slower than we want it to be? Yes, it is. Should they email you when you put in an application? I think they should. They should send you an email that says, we got your application. But are they doing that? No, they're not. That's a big shortfall here. It's a big shortcoming. But here's what they said to me. They said that people will get contacted within 2 to 3 weeks. They'll email to let you know the decision. And then once you get approved, then SBA sets up a portal for you. That's the way they explained it to me. You can't change your application. You can't change your application, but you can start a whole new one. That's what they told me. And then again, when you get ready to do that application, you need to have either your social security number, your EIN, your employer identification number, and then you need to have the information that you would have normally when you do your taxes. So your expenses, your income from hopefully the last year. what happens if you just started your business in January of this year or February? Then you need to have whatever information you have, and in some cases it may be projections. So if you were planning to spend $20,000 on capital on a vehicle or whatever, but you haven't even had a chance to do that, I think that it might be fair to put those projections in. I'm not an accountant. I'm not giving you accounting advice. I'm just telling you based on the conversation what I believe could be considered fair. You are also agreeing that you may have an interview with the SBA before they give you $2 million. My guess is that you're going to have some personal interaction with you. They're not just going to deposit $2 million into your bank account on the off chance that you have a legit business. And so let me see what else. Okay. So this, I'm going to stress this again. This is not a traditional bank loan. This is an SBA loan, but it is a loan that you can apply for directly through the SBA website. So it's completely different. You don't go to the local bank or anything else. The people that are applying for the PPP loans, those people are going through the bank. And my client did tell me that her local credit union could not handle the loan. Not every bank is set up to handle these paycheck protection loans. She had to go through a bigger bank that has a bigger national presence. So there is chatter and disappointment from people who are saying, well, my bank doesn't do this. My bank doesn't have this. And there are banks out there who I'm willing to bet will be happy to give you a loan at 10% interest, at 20% interest, or whatever, a personal loan, a business loan. These are not the types of loans that the president is talking about. The emergency loans are not in that category. And so I just want to encourage you to persevere and to go directly to the SBA.gov website. Do I know anybody yet who's gotten the advance? I don't. So I'm not making promises to you. I'm just trying to give you information, because like I said, I have heard from people who have said, I don't think this is working. I didn't get a confirmation email. For me personally, I didn't get a confirmation email. That's why I called them. And that's where I got this information. Now, last week when I called, they said 3 to 5 business days. Today when I called, it said 2 to 3 weeks. Is it great? No, it is not. It's not perfect, especially when your margins are so thin with a business. It's not at all perfect. But I'm gonna ride this out. And I think that that's all we can do. Is there a chance that the economy will be back up and running before I get the money? There's a chance there will be. There is a chance. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to help me or you if you have a business. Because the fact is, many of us have lost opportunities and income in the time that this has been shut down. So it can make up for the shortfall. And that's just what I'm encouraging. And again, there's a 1-year deferment for payments. So if you have a projection that your business is going to be profitable this year, then use that money to do the things that you want to do to expand your business, and also to get the training that you need, which is what I was explaining the other day. If you are in a trade, if you feel like you're gonna be able to position yourself to be ready for the infrastructure boom that's coming, then go ahead and do that. Use some of that money to invest in yourself. And so I hope this clears up some of the things that I said the other day. I believe that when I talked about this advance, I was under the impression that it was $10,000 and then that you had to go and make an additional application for more money. And so I've clarified today that it is actually, you have the ability to apply for up to $2 million through this particular provision, and that the emergency grant is the $10,000 portion. Does that clear it up for you guys? I'm just trying to keep this simple. I don't think it's that complicated. I think that one of the goals here was to keep it as simple as possible. But I think that a lot of people really aren't aware of these details. I just happen to like researching this stuff. I like the details, and I want to help as many people as possible. I have had some people write to me, and I've been able to help them, and so I'm really grateful for that, to be able to help people navigate this, because there's confusion, and I think that when you're dealing with the media, of course, and you're dealing with chatter on social media, again, remember there are people who are on social media intentionally to sow discontent and disinformation. So there may be people who are tweeting and commenting and saying things that aren't necessarily true. They're just there to bring down the morale, right? So we're saying, I didn't get, this didn't work for me, or whatever. You don't know, unless it's somebody that you know personally, that you're in contact with. I would just take some of it with a grain of salt. And sometimes it's just that the error is in the user, and some people maybe didn't fill out the information correctly. We don't know all the details, is what I'm saying. We don't always know why it didn't work for somebody. But I'm glad I'm glad I got more information about the unemployment piece, because getting a rejection letter from unemployment when the president has stood up and Secretary Mnuchin has stood up and said people are going to get this unemployment, self-employed people who work for tips are going to be able to file for unemployment. I'm guessing that everybody went out and filed for unemployment, and then they got these rejection letters, and then they went on social media and said, this isn't working. And so, I might have done that too, except that on the heels of that, I got the other piece of communication that said, here's how this works. Hang on, you're not really rejected. This is just the way the system is set up. It tells you you're rejected because it's not the same track. The emergency money is a different track. That's all. It's still being run through your state's unemployment program. And so I hope that helps clear it up. But it can be demoralizing, I will admit. So anybody that that's been faced with this, that has gotten a rejection letter, that anybody that hasn't been in a normal employment situation where they get a paycheck with their taxes already taken out, those people that applied for this unemployment benefit that got rejected, tell them what I just explained, that it's not actually a complete rejection. It's just they're putting you on a different track. And so their system is set up to look like a rejection. That's really what's happening. Does anybody have any questions or comments here? We didn't have too many trolls. So I hope that this has been helpful. I've given you a lot of information. So thanks for hanging in here. Any questions, any comments? Thanks, Millie. Yeah, it is a lot. Someone with an S Corp can file for unemployment. Yes, yeah, so that's what I'm seeing. So S Corp, Autumn Moon, yes. So exactly, let me go back to the FEC. So when you file your taxes, you're generally filing on a 1099, is that correct? Nobody else is taking taxes out for you. You may be filing quarterly, you may be filing estimated taxes. If that's you, then you're in that category of filing for unemployment. Yep. Okay, yeah, so go to your state employment commission. I'm in Virginia, so it's vec.virginia.gov. And what you're gonna look for is, you can file for unemployment, and they're gonna ask you they're going to ask you, if you were employed before, they're going to ask you to input certain information. And I think generally they ask you like, what did you get paid as of the 1st of this month or the 1st of March or whatever? And you might put 0. But then the system, the way that the system in Virginia works is that they're gonna track your social security number from the last year, and they're gonna find, the system is gonna say, wait, this person doesn't even have a W-2, they wouldn't qualify for benefits because there's no employer. And so that's what will trigger what they call a monetary determination that tells you how much your weekly benefit would be. That monetary determination is based on a system that is set up to pay you according to traditional unemployment insurance. That's why you get a monetary determination of 0. But then they should tell you the next step, which is, we have you in the system, and as soon as we get guidance from the federal government, we're going to take your application and move you over to this track, which is the pandemic unemployment assistance. Does that make sense? This is really important. There are a lot of people out there. Okay, I'm an S Corp and I didn't take a salary the last few months. Can I still get a paycheck advance? I believe you can, because you got, you had income coming into your business, for example, in 2019, right? That this is set up for people that have inconsistent income, for example, people who work for tips. Freelancers don't have always the same income every month. That's the way I'm reading this. That's the way I'm understanding it. So go ahead and put in your application for unemployment. Go ahead and do that. Get in the system. Just be prepared for what I would call a rejection letter. Be prepared for the monetary determination that is a 0. I'm going to show you mine. Okay, it says 0 right here. Okay, see that? So that right there, it says that it's 0 because there's nobody that reports wages for me. And so that the system is going to say this person wasn't employed, they don't qualify. That's where the pandemic unemployment assistance kicks in. And so these state systems are just playing catch up. They're trying to get it all into their system so that you can then get the benefit. Okay, those are good questions. Any other questions? Yeah, I think there are a lot of people out there who believe that they can't even apply. Mortgage and real estate sales, 2008, filed with 2 separate 1099. Okay, yeah. So, okay. Yeah, so mortgage and real estate sales. So if you filed your taxes with a 1099, then I believe that you can qualify for the SBA advance. With the SBA advance, if you filed in 2018 or 2019, go ahead and file. Okay, let me get to this other question next. So go ahead and apply for the SBA. If you have your receipts, right? You have your expenses as a real estate agent. You have a lot of expenses, all those office expenses, all of those phone, computer, utility expenses, your vehicle, all of that. That's your cost of goods for this application. So that's the SBA EIDL. Unemployment. You can't list houses right now. You probably aren't going to get any closings next month or the month after. That's unemployment. So you would qualify for the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program. I'm pretty certain, if I'm reading this correctly, yes, if you have a 1099 income, this is what you qualify for. Now, somebody else, did that answer your question? So somebody said, my husband is an independent contractor. They did ask him to call the labor department to determine his case. Who asked him to do that? Can you tell me more? Okay. Why are they telling him to call the labor department? Who told him to do that? Okay. Anybody else have questions while we're getting that response? Anybody else? Hit the screen, touch the hearts. Let me know you're here. Let me know if this is valuable information. I'm going to stay on for a few more minutes. Who told him online? What do you mean? Like who? Not just the internet. Who told him that? Can you give me more information? You might have to email me, info@marygracemedia.com. Application was completed. The application through the unemployment office, is that what you mean? How soon can we expect the money? I lost my job last June when I was on family medical leave. So that would be a different, that would be probably a different case. 2019, all right, I'm gonna come back to you, Power Realty. That was instruction after completion, but I need to know where was he filing? Was that on the federal, was that on the unemployment website? Is that what you're saying about your husband? That's what I need to know. And then this question about the real estate. So if you use, you can probably use that 1099. Yeah. What you want, realtor, is they're going to be looking, you basically want, 2018, 2019, what was your gross, your gross income, and then what was your cost of goods. So if you have all that information, if it was relatively steady, then do 2018. Yeah. Okay, on the Labor Department website. What state are you in, therapist? What state are you in? Is that the same? Is the Labor Department website the same as what we call the Virginia Employment Commission? Every state is different. I don't know if it's the same. New York. And is that what we would call the Employment Commission? Is that what the Labor Department is, or is that like for unions? I'm not sure how every state works. Is there anybody from New York on here who can jump in on this? Hey, JC. Anybody know? Okay, so, and they told him to call. Can you email me? Because, yeah, or if there's anybody else from New York who can help this person. But again, they may be telling, like, every state is different. Okay, we already saw, like, Governor Cuomo wasn't prepared for the medical aspect of this. So they may not have everything in place. That may be why they're telling you to call. They may be understaffed. So a lot of what we're running into are really staffing issues and technical issues having to do with individual states. It's a question of preparedness. How prepared were they to revamp their entire system to help people with this situation? That's part of what we're running into. Your president just extended the national lockdown another 2 weeks in South Africa. So yeah, any more questions? Any other comments? What's been helpful for you? Okay, subchapter S. Yes, you can go back. Okay, subchapter S. Can I go back and watch this online? Yes, you can. And I'm trying to get this up on YouTube as well. I will do my best to get it up. I'm going out of town for the weekend, so I'm going to try to get it up tonight. I just have a lot to do between then. The person who asked if they can watch the replay, yeah, it's going to try to get it up on YouTube. Subchapter S Corp. So Jordy, are you asking if you can file for unemployment and for the SBA? It depends on how you do your taxes. Most likely, though, you can. If you own your own business and you have been affected by this pandemic, then most likely, yes, you can file for unemployment and you can file for the SBA loan. I may not be 100% right about the unemployment, but for the SBA, for the EIDL, yes, you can apply. You are self-employed. I mean, you're a business owner, as long as you're under 500 employees for that part of it. The unemployment part, I think you can. If you pay yourself, it depends on how you pay yourself. So that's a little, you might have to ask your accountant about that. It depends on your structure, if you have employees or not. If you don't have employees, if you're paying yourself, then you most likely can apply for unemployment. Like if you laid yourself off, right? It just depends. So I'm not as familiar with that tax structure, but your accountant should be able to answer that question for you. But the SBA, the EIDL, go to my Twitter, Mary Grace Media, and click on the link that I tweeted out about an hour ago. The link to the EIDL application is there. And if you're coming in late, go back and watch the rest of this. Go back and watch this, yeah. So S Corp, you should be able to do that. You should be able to. So again, I'm not an accountant. I know for sure that people who are freelancers, who are self-employed as a sole proprietor, as an LLC, they're saying that people who fall into that category can apply for unemployment through the pandemic unemployment assistance. The SBA EIDL advance is yes, you can apply for that, and that the emergency advance is up to $10,000. The loan itself is up to $2 million. So that's the distinction. Again, go back and watch the replay. I did go into that explanation. So guys, any more questions? Are we good? Glad you guys were here. I'm glad I could share this information. The next time I'm going to be on is most likely going to be Tuesday. I usually do a music show on Sundays. I am going to be visiting family for Easter. We're going to have a little social distancing front porch church for Easter. And so I'm not planning on doing a broadcast that day. Next Tuesday is the 14th of April. And I will be back on my regular time, which is 4 p.m. Eastern. And then I'll be back on Thursday the 16th, 4 p.m. Eastern for this same hour. It's Real Talk with Mary Grace. If you want to check out my music, you can come to the same Periscope channel and look for my music broadcast, and that's my Grace Notes show. Please follow me on this channel. Follow my YouTube channel, which is Mary Grace Media. Go subscribe to that. Turn on the notifications. Turn on the notifications on everything. But the best thing to do, the easiest way to make sure you don't miss a broadcast, is to set your alarm on your phone, on your calendar, on your stove, whatever traditional alarm clock you have. Set that alarm, because we can't count on social media to get these notifications out. We just can't. So we just have to rely on our own systems to make sure that we get on these broadcasts. Is there anything else I left out? We got a lot going on. A lot of content here. Yes, and happy Easter. This is a wonderful time of year, a beautiful time to reflect on God's goodness and all that He's done for us, and be at peace. This is hard, but it's not the end. And so, God wins. We know that God wins. And happy Easter, happy Passover. Yes, exactly. Okay. So guys, thank you to everyone. Thank you for all of your great comments. Thank you for following. Thank you for participating in the chat. Thank you to my moderators. And again, you can hold on a second. I'll look at this. I saw forbearance will hurt new loans. Can you elaborate on that? Where did you see that? Did you see that on the SBA website? What do you mean by forbearance? Are you talking about student loans? Because I don't think that's the case. Because what I'm reading is that that there's up to a certain amount property forbearance. Are you talking about foreclosures? Are you talking about a foreclosure? That shouldn't affect your business. I haven't seen that. So if you can provide a link to that, that would be helpful, to where you saw that, if you can put that on Twitter and then tag me or send it to me in an email, info@MaryGraceMedia. And the way that you tag on Twitter is just type my name at Mary Grace Media, and then I'll see it. Just don't tag me on everything you tweet, but tag me on that. That would be great. Or email me. Yeah, I haven't seen that. So if you could provide a link, because there's a lot of information going around. There's a lot of misinformation, and I just want to make sure that we have a substantiated, we have a context for that. I just want to make sure that anything I share that we talk about is substantiated with a reliable source. There's just a ton of misinformation going around. And on that note, I did want to say that be careful where you go for information. Also be careful about what you click on. There are scammers galore out there right now. So yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for coming in. Be very aware, be hyper vigilant, because there's a good chance that you're going to get emails, or when you start searching online for these loans, do not click on anything that is not SBA.gov, Small Business Administration.gov. Scammers are very good at creating websites and ads and links that look exactly like the link that you're looking for. They do it with the IRS also. So if you're going to file your taxes and you want to file free online, go directly to the irs.gov. And gosh, I was getting ready to log off, but there's one more thing I want to talk about that just reminded me. The page, love you, Michelle. I'll see you soon. Okay, the relief check that everybody's looking for, that's going to be direct deposited. If you have already filed your taxes, if for any reason you do not have a bank account on file with the IRS, keep checking back with irs.gov, because they are going to provide a link and a way for people to put in their checking account information so that you can get a direct deposit of the relief check. Even if you are somebody who hasn't filed taxes, maybe your income is too low, maybe you're on Social Security. If you fall into that category, do not click on any links that come in your email. Do not talk to people by phone if you get phone calls. Go directly to sba.gov, and when you see the link on there that allows you to put in your information for taxes, for your checking information, that's where you want to do it. I can't stress that enough. If you have any questions about this, email me, info@marygracemedia.com, and I will help you find the right link. Don't get scammed. There are scammers everywhere right now, and they are taking advantage of people who are in this sea of confusion. There's so much chatter. Be very careful, okay? And please spread the word to everybody you know. Do not get scammed. Make sure you're going on the right websites to find this information. The people that scam know how Google works. They know the terms you're searching for. They're going to try to get you to click on the wrong websites. Please be careful about that, okay? So you guys have a great day. Have a wonderful Easter, and I will be back. I know this has been very serious content, but it's been incredibly important, and I'm so glad that you guys were here to partake. And please do share this content. Please share it. Social Security is ssa.gov. Yeah, so the one that people really need to be aware of is irs.gov, because that's where people go to input their information. If you're already getting Social Security, they have your direct deposit information, so you don't need to worry about that. But the people who generally don't file taxes, or for some reason the government, they don't think the IRS has their direct deposit information, those are people that are going to need to provide that as soon as the IRS has that link available for you to put that in, okay? So it's really great to be here. This is like my 4th goodbye, but this is it. This is really it. And I'm sure we'll have more to talk about next Tuesday. There's going to be more content, but just be at peace and know that, you know, God's got this, and God wins. And it's Easter. It's a resurrection time. I know that this nation is going to come back, and that there's going to be a real turnaround. So if you missed my broadcast on Monday, make sure you go watch that, because I think you're going to be really encouraged. Love you guys. Have a great week and a weekend and a beautiful Easter.